Chosen one, God's plan is active. Elevation has begun. You are no longer in the waiting room. The time of stillness, of silence, of feeling like nothing was moving, that time is over. What once felt like delay was actually divine preparation. And now, the shift you felt coming has finally arrived. Something deep within you already knows this. The atmosphere has changed. You may not see it fully yet, but your spirit feels it. The heaviness lifting, the path clearing, the elevation beginning. This isn't just another season. This is a marked moment in your life, a sacred activation. You've crossed into a timeline where the plan that was once hidden is now unfolding, and it's unfolding quickly. The resistance you faced was not punishment, it was training. The isolation you endured wasn't abandonment, it was sacred separation. You were being refined in quiet for a purpose that would require strength. And now, you're stepping into that purpose. The plan is active. The elevation has begun. You are being pulled upward, not by force, but by divine momentum. And as this shift unfolds, we invite you to stay with this video until the very end. Something will speak to you. Something will unlock. Leave your warmest wishes in the comments, along with the number 99. This is how we activate this energy together. This is how we signal that we are awake, aware, and aligned. What's happening now is not random. It's not a coincidence. It's what your soul has been prepared for. Your struggles were not in vain. They were necessary steps on a path that had to shape you before it could elevate you. You are not being promoted because of luck. You are being promoted because you endured the process. And elevation doesn't come to those who chase it. It comes to those who align with it. And you, chosen one, have aligned. This alignment didn't come through ease. It came through fire. Through nights when you questioned everything. Through days where your faith was tested. Through seasons when the silence was deafening. But you stayed. You kept going. You didn't fold. And now, the divine reward for your endurance is being released. You are being lifted by unseen hands, moved into new territory, positioned where your voice, your light, your gift can no longer be ignored. The doors that didn't open weren't rejections. They were redirections. The delays weren't denials. They were divine edits. The disappointments weren't setbacks. They were setups. And now that you've passed the test, the unlocking begins. You are entering a realm where things begin to move quickly, not chaotically, but divinely. Opportunities will begin to align, not because you chase them, but because you are now a match for them. The version of you that used to beg is gone. The version of you that felt lost is gone. Now you rise as one who knows. You're no longer trying to figure everything out. You're moving in trust. You're no longer asking for signs. You're following the pull. You're no longer waiting for the world to validate you. You've validated yourself. And that is why you are being elevated. Because you've proven that you can handle the next level without losing your integrity, without losing your grounding, without losing your soul. Elevation does not always begin with applause. Sometimes it begins in stillness. Sometimes it begins in the quiet decision to no longer shrink. Sometimes it starts the moment you realize your life was never meant to look like anyone else's. You're not here to copy. You're not here to fit in. You're here to shift, to show a new way, to embody a new standard. You carry something sacred, and the world has tried to distract you from it. The noise, the doubt, the false paths, all of it tried to dim your clarity. But clarity doesn't come from noise. It comes from stillness. And in that stillness, you remembered. You remembered that this path isn't always about speed. It's about timing. And right now, The timing is yours. The plan has always been in motion, even when you couldn't see it, even when it felt like nothing was working, even when everyone around you moved ahead while you sat still. The stillness wasn't wasted. It was divine engineering. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. And now that positioning is turning into placement. Everything you need is already in your field. The resources, the wisdom, the opportunity, the connection. It's not arriving, it's already here. The only thing that was missing was you, showing up in your fullness. But now you are. And now the plan is active. The energy is moving, the favor is flowing, the alignment is locking in. Chosen one, you are no longer behind. You are not late. You are right on time. You haven't missed it. You are it. You are the move. You are the shift. You are the elevation in physical form. And as you accept this truth, not just intellectually, but energetically, everything begins to rise with you. Elevation is not just about height. It's about clarity, vision, expansion, integrity, alignment. It's about who you are when no one is watching. And now, the divine is saying, I watched, I saw, I know. You're ready. You don't have to force it. You don't have to prove it. You just have to be it. Be the calm in the chaos. Be the clarity in confusion. Be the one who trusts even when the details aren't clear. Be the one who doesn't chase, but magnetizes. Be the one who remembers that the plan is bigger than fear, bigger than delay, bigger than any voice that tried to convince you you weren't enough. You are not just part of the plan. You are the plan in motion. You are the vessel. You are the message. You are the chosen delivery of something divine. That is why things feel different now. That is why the people who didn't see you before are suddenly drawn to your light. That is why you're being pulled into rooms you didn't even knock on. Because elevation isn't something you beg for. It's something you become. And now, you have become it. There is no going back now. The internal shift has taken place. You've passed through the fire and emerged refined, not destroyed. You've let go of identities that were rooted in survival, and you've stepped into one that is rooted in vision. The old you would have second-guessed this moment. The old you would have questioned your worth, feared your calling, doubted your readiness. But that version of you no longer has authority here. You've outgrown their doubts. You've outlived their fears. You've elevated beyond their limitations. This is not the season of questioning who you are. It's the season of walking like you know. Not arrogantly, but unapologetically. Not loudly, but powerfully. You don't need to be loud to make noise. Your energy speaks now. Your presence communicates truth. Your decisions shape the atmosphere around you, not because you try, but because you are anchored in divine timing. You have been hidden, and not everyone understands that type of preparation. The world often rewards those who move fast and flash big, but divine elevation doesn't require noise. It requires readiness, and that readiness isn't cosmetic. It's spiritual, it's energetic, it's mental. And now, you're ready at every level. The preparation you went through behind closed doors is why the public elevation won't crush you. You've been built for this. Quietly, privately, strategically. You've developed a strength that doesn't need validation to be real. You've built discipline when no one was cheering. You've learned how to hear your own voice above the noise. And because of that, you're no longer shaken by delay or confusion. You don't need things to happen overnight, because you know that overnight success often breaks people who weren't built for it. You've been built with patience, built with tears, built with trials, and now your structure is strong enough to hold the magnitude of what's coming. This elevation is not just about new opportunities, it's about a new operating system. You think differently now. You process challenges through wisdom, not reaction. You move with insight, not impulse. You've gained something most never do: spiritual intelligence. That's why things don't shake you like they used to. That's why you can sit in storms and still hold your peace. Peace is your compass now. It leads you into alignment. You no longer pursue what looks good. You wait for what feels true. You no longer run after timing. You trust your timing is already woven into the fabric of divine intelligence. You don't try to force things anymore. You've stopped manipulating outcomes and started magnetizing them. That's not laziness. That's alignment. And it's more powerful than anything you've ever tried before. Elevation is subtle at first. It doesn't always announce itself. But your inner world feels it. Your body feels lighter. Your choices feel more certain. The noise feels further away. That's how you know the lift has started. You're no longer stuck in the gravity of fear. You're rising into the clarity of purpose. And because of that rise, some things can't come with you. Not everyone will understand the new version of you. Some will try to pull you back into old conversations, old cycles, old mindsets. But elevation demands discernment. This season isn't about proving your growth. It's about protecting it. That doesn't mean you cut everyone off. It means you protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You've realized now that elevation doesn't mean doing more. It means doing less with more intention. It's not about exhausting yourself to impress the world. It's about simplifying your life until only the truth remains. You're shedding layers that were never yours to carry, expectations that were never yours to meet, roles you played just to be accepted. That weight is gone now. You rise lighter, freer, clearer. This clarity makes you magnetic. Not because you're trying to be noticed, but because people can feel truth. And truth draws attention. Not for the sake of ego, but for the sake of alignment. Your light is not to be hidden anymore. You've been assigned visibility, not for popularity, but for impact. You're not here to perform. You're here to activate. Activate new ways of thinking, new standards of living, new levels of faith, vision, creativity, leadership. People will come to you not just because of what you do, but because of what you embody. You carry a presence now, one that cannot be copied, one that cannot be bought, one that is born through becoming, and you've become. You are no longer striving for destiny. You are walking in it. You're no longer seeking approval. You're building from purpose. You don't ask, "Am I ready?" You declare, "I am placed here on purpose, and I move as such." And that movement begins to stir things around you. The right people begin to notice. The right invitations begin to appear. The path becomes clearer, not because things have changed, but because you have. Your inner elevation is now being matched by your external positioning. Don't be surprised when things shift suddenly, when you're offered opportunities you didn't chase, when people reach out to align with you, when doors swing open that you didn't even know existed. That's not luck. That's divine momentum. You've been obedient in silence. Now you're being honored in public. This isn't about fame. It's about fulfillment. It's about you finally walking in the fullness of what was promised. The promise wasn't that it would be easy. The promise was that it would be worth it. And now it is. Now everything is clicking. And not because you did everything right, but because you kept showing up. You kept the faith when it didn't make sense. You held your vision when no one clapped. You believed when the evidence didn't support it. And that belief created the bridge to this moment. This is what elevation feels like. It's quiet, it's deep, it's sacred, and it's permanent. You are now stepping into alignment so precise that even what used to confuse you is becoming clear. The fog is lifting. The uncertainty is dissolving. You're no longer guessing who you are or what you're meant to do. You know. And that knowing is not from the mind. It's not logic. It's not reasoning. It's revelation. It's felt in the body. It pulses through your intuition. It whispers in the silence, "This is it. This is the moment you were built for." The elevation you're experiencing is not just positional, it's dimensional. You've moved from one level of consciousness to another. You see differently now. You're not caught up in small things. You don't entertain noise. You're not swayed by every emotion, comment, or opinion. You've become anchored, centered, rooted. And from that rootedness, you're rising. Not because you're climbing, but because the ground beneath you is lifting you up. This is what it feels like when divine momentum catches you. It's not exhausting. It's not overwhelming. It's deeply familiar. Because even though it feels new on the outside, it matches who you've always been on the inside. You're not becoming someone else. You're returning to yourself. The self before fear, before trauma, before silence, before shame, before you were told you were too much or not enough. The self that always knew it was chosen. You don't have to convince anyone anymore. You're not here to prove, to defend, or to persuade. That was the old chapter, the one where you needed to be understood in order to feel secure. But now you are understood by the divine, and that's enough. You walk differently now, not because of status, but because of security. The kind of security that comes from alignment, not attachment. You are no longer emotionally attached to outcomes. You are spiritually anchored in truth. You no longer panic when something doesn't go your way. You don't spiral when plans shift. You trust now, not blindly, but boldly. Because the evidence is clear. Everything that didn't work out was actually protecting you. And everything that fell apart was making space for what is now falling together. This is the season of divine fitting. You're not forcing anymore. You're flowing. You're not chasing doors. They're opening before you arrive. And when you walk through them, it feels natural. Because you're not walking in as someone trying to make it. You're walking in as someone who knows they belong. That sense of belonging is no longer external. It's internal. You carry home inside of you. You carry peace with you. You carry clarity into every space. And that energy shifts the atmosphere. People can't explain it, but they feel it. You don't even need to say much. Your energy enters first. Your alignment speaks before your mouth does. And that kind of presence? It's rare, it's sacred, and it's unshakable. Chosen one, you've now stepped into the frequency where effort is no longer your engine. Alignment is. You don't burn out to create results. You don't hustle from fear. You don't say yes to things that drain you just to seem nice or needed. That version of you, the one who overgave, over-explained, and overextended, no longer runs the show. Now, your boundaries are clear, not as walls, but as wisdom. You know your capacity. You know your value. You don't dilute yourself anymore to make others comfortable. You show up in full. And the right ones know how to receive you. The right ones honor what you carry. The right ones are aligned with your elevation. Because elevation isn't just personal, it's relational. You can no longer stay connected to people who resist their own growth. You can no longer entertain conversations that feed your doubt. You can no longer explain to others why your expansion feels urgent. It's urgent because it's divine timing, and divine timing waits for no one. This next level will require solitude at times, not because you're alone, but because not everyone can understand your calling. And that's okay. You've stopped seeking understanding and started seeking obedience. You don't need a crowd when you have clarity. You don't need approval when you have alignment. You don't need permission when you have purpose. And your purpose? It's bigger than comfort, bigger than applause, bigger than image. It's legacy, it's impact, it's healing, it's awakening. It's calling others higher just by being fully yourself. That's what elevation looks like now. Not climbing over others, but lifting others just by being in your presence. You are the proof, the living, breathing example that divine timing is real, that silent seasons produce strong foundations, that those who wait with faith are never left behind, that those who trust in the unseen are guided by something greater than logic. They are led by alignment. So don't be surprised when elevation happens in unexpected ways. A connection out of nowhere, a door you didn't knock on, a message that shifts everything, a moment that changes your life forever. You're not being lucky, you're being activated. The path was already built. You're just finally walking it fully. This is what happens when the plan becomes active. Things move quickly, gracefully, without panic, without push, just divine pull. And you've finally stopped resisting the pull. You've surrendered. And now, everything rises with you. Everything around you is responding to your internal change. The things you used to tolerate now feel heavy. The conversations you once entertained now seem empty. The environments you once blended into now feel too small for the version of you that has awakened. That's not ego, that's elevation. You didn't become better than anyone else. You became better aligned with who you truly are. You've stopped betraying yourself to keep the peace. You've stopped editing your dreams to make them digestible. You've stopped dimming your brilliance to make others feel safe. The time for shrinking is over. This is the season of full expansion. And expansion doesn't require explanation. You're no longer explaining your light. You're living it. When God's plan becomes active in your life, everything accelerates, but it accelerates according to divine order, not human pressure. You begin to move with a rhythm that can't be timed by the clock or predicted by the calendar. And when others ask how it all came together, your only answer will be, I aligned. Because that's all it ever was. You didn't force it. You flowed with it. You're not hustling for a breakthrough anymore. You are the breakthrough. You walk into rooms and things shift. You speak and people listen. You create and impact ripples out. And not because of your title or following or credentials, but because you carry something that can't be measured. Divine essence, divine timing, divine favor. This season, you are not being lifted just for yourself. You are being elevated to be a signal, a beacon, a signpost. Your life is becoming a living example of what happens when you stop fighting the plan and start surrendering to it. This surrender has been your superpower. It wasn't passive, it was powerful, because it took everything in you not to try to control what wasn't ready. And now that the time is right, you don't even have to push. It's happening through you. This level comes with responsibility, not to prove anything, but to stay grounded, stay present, stay true. Elevation is not just about rising, it's about remembering who you've always been underneath the noise, the fear, the waiting. And now that you've remembered, you no longer fall for the distractions. You no longer rush when you feel delay. You no longer panic when the outcome shifts. You've matured, not just emotionally, but energetically. You feel it in your breath, in your body, in your calm. You've stopped leaking energy into fear, and now your power is contained. And with that containment comes momentum. You don't feel scattered anymore. You feel clear. You feel ready. And that readiness is not anxious. It's settled. It's quiet. It's undeniable. That's the secret of the chosen one in elevation. It doesn't look like hype. It doesn't sound like shouting. It feels like stillness, strength, centering. Like you could walk into any situation and not lose yourself, because your identity is rooted in something greater than the room. You don't adapt to fit environments anymore. You elevate them. And yes, some will be uncomfortable with your rise. Some will project their unhealed parts onto your new expression. Let them. Their discomfort is not your burden. Their confusion is not your assignment. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be aligned with those who are ready. And the right ones are coming now. The ones who feel familiar even when they're new. The ones who see you, not for what you've done, but for who you are. You are being guided into new spaces, new levels of creativity, new relationships, new clarity. Not because you finally did it right, but because you finally let go of everything that said you had to earn what was always already yours. You've released the identity of striving, and now you receive from overflow, not obligation. This is what sacred elevation looks like. Peace over pressure, presence over proving, wholeness over hustle. You're no longer chasing anything. Not love, not money, not recognition. And that's why it's chasing you. People feel the shift in you. Your language has changed. Your pace has changed. Your vision has grown. You are no longer waiting for an external sign to start living. You are the sign. You are the confirmation someone else has been praying for. You are the mirror of what alignment looks like in human form. And that's the highest purpose of elevation. Not to be seen, but to be felt. Not to impress, but to impact. Not to dominate, but to liberate. You're not trying to take up space. You are the space. A space of possibility, of wisdom, of presence, of embodiment. Everything now flows toward you because you are no longer resisting it. You've stopped carrying shame. You've stopped playing small. You've stopped apologizing for existing in your full power. And that inner permission has rewritten your entire reality. Your mind is clear. Your heart is light. Your spirit is unshakable. And from this place, this center, you cannot be stopped. Not by fear, not by delay, not by rejection. Because you know now that nothing outside of you has power unless you give it power. And you've stopped giving your energy to the wrong things. You've reclaimed your authority. You've remembered your origin. And from that remembrance, you've stepped into the timeline that was always waiting for you. The one where everything works. Not because life is perfect, but because you are finally in harmony with it. This is only the beginning. The momentum has started. The path is open. The plan is alive. And you, chosen one, are finally ready to walk it. You are no longer becoming. You are being. There is no gap between the person you envisioned and the person you now are. You've caught up to your truth. You've merged with your mission. You've dropped the masks, shed the false timelines, and walked out of every version of you that was built to survive. This is the emergence of the real you. And the world is finally ready to receive you. Not the filtered version, not the edited performance, but the authentic expression of a soul in full bloom. That's what elevation really is. Not just being lifted higher, but being brought deeper into truth. The higher you rise, the more grounded you become. Your roots are strong now. Your boundaries are clear. Your intentions are clean. And because of that, your life is beginning to bear fruit. Not because you forced it, but because you became fertile ground. You've cultivated something sacred within you. You've done the work most won't. You've sat with your pain. You've asked hard questions. You've chosen healing over avoidance, depth over distraction, alignment over appearance. That is why you are being trusted with more. Because you've shown that your elevation isn't just for show, it's for service. You don't just want to rise, you want to lift others too. And that's why the plan is unfolding so effortlessly now. It's not about self-promotion, it's about soul positioning. You are being placed where your presence matters, where your voice unlocks something, where your energy makes a difference. And the best part? You're not afraid anymore. Not of failing, not of succeeding, not of being seen, not of being misunderstood. You've moved beyond fear. You've moved beyond needing everything to make sense. You don't need a 5-year plan to feel safe. You feel safe in your knowing, in your alignment, in your yes. That yes has changed your life. That yes opened the portal. It was never about being perfect. It was about being willing. And you were willing. Willing to let go. Willing to trust. Willing to believe again. Even when it hurt. Even when it made no sense. Even when no one else understood. And now, your yes is being honored. Things are moving because you are no longer moving from fear. You're not manifesting from scarcity. You're manifesting from stability. Your prayers aren't filled with panic. They're filled with power. You're not chasing miracles. You are the miracle. A living, breathing, walking example of what happens when a soul decides to stop surviving and start embodying. You've become consistent, not in performance, in presence. You show up now, not because you have to, but because you get to. You wake up not to escape your life, but to live it, fully, freely, fervently, with purpose in your bones and peace in your chest. There's a steadiness in you now, a stillness. You don't waver with the winds. You don't flinch at setbacks. You don't overreact to uncertainty. You've grown past needing immediate answers. You've learned to trust in rhythms that are higher than your understanding. And in that trust, you've gained access to divine momentum. This is the kind of momentum that can't be manufactured. It can't be faked. It can't be manipulated. It comes only when everything inside you aligns with everything above you. And now that it has, things begin to flow. Conversations shift. Timing aligns. The people, the opportunities, the open doors, they begin to arrive, not through stress, but through synchronicity. You don't need to network desperately. You don't need to force anything. Your energy introduces you. Your presence precedes you. Your alignment speaks volumes before you ever say a word. You've become undeniable. Not because you're loud, but because you're clear. You know who you are. You know what you carry. You know where you're going. That clarity is your currency. It's what makes you magnetic, and it's what allows you to walk away from anything that doesn't resonate, without guilt, without regret, without apology. You no longer need to justify your growth. You don't need to explain your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself, for evolving, for elevating. Those who are meant to walk with you will honor your transformation. The rest will fall away, and you'll let them in love, in peace, without resistance. Because now, your energy is expensive. You don't spend it on what drains you. You don't give it to what distracts you. You've learned the value of your attention, your time, your soul. And from that awareness, you've become selective. Not out of ego, but out of sacred stewardship. This is how legacy is built. Not in a rush, not in noise, but in quiet, intentional choices. In inner clarity that leads to outer expansion. In the refusal to betray your truth, no matter how tempting the shortcut may be. You're playing the long game now, the real game. And you're winning, not because of strategy, but because of alignment. This is only the beginning. The elevation is just getting started. And you are becoming more, every day, more clear, more free, more grounded, more powerful, more of you. You are no longer waiting for a breakthrough. You are living inside it. This is what it feels like when everything aligns, not perfectly, but divinely. It's not that every detail is figured out, it's that you've stopped needing control to feel safe. You've stopped measuring your progress by outside validation. You've stopped fearing what happens next. Because now, you know, whatever is next is already designed for your good. The pressure has lifted, not because life got easier, but because your perspective got higher. You see from a new place now, a place where delay doesn't feel like defeat, a place where silence doesn't equal abandonment, a place where discomfort doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're growing. You've stopped seeing every challenge as a crisis. You've started seeing it as a catalyst. That's what elevation teaches you. It doesn't promise ease. It promises truth. And truth is what sets you free. Not just from what held you back, but from what held you down energetically. The need to prove, the need to perform, the need to be understood, the need to explain. All of it has dissolved. You've become a quiet force, a grounded presence. You are not moved by temporary emotions because your foundation is eternal. You are no longer defined by your circumstances. You shape them. You are no longer overwhelmed by what others are doing. You bless them and return to your own lane. You are no longer wondering if you're enough. You know now you were overqualified the whole time, just hidden on purpose, because that's what divine plans do. They hide what's sacred until the time is right. And now, the time is right. The plan is in motion. The elevation has begun. And nothing can stop what's already been released. The people that didn't see your value, they were never meant to carry this next version of you. The opportunities that didn't work out, they were never your home. The timing that felt off, it was protecting you from rushing into a version of success that your soul wasn't ready to hold. But now, you're ready. And this readiness has nothing to do with being perfect. It has everything to do with being present. Present in your own body, present in your own power, present in your own life, without apology. You've stopped abandoning yourself. You've stopped silencing your inner knowing. You've stopped outsourcing your decisions to people who never saw the full picture. And because of that, the blessings meant for you are finally finding their way back home. You've cleared the static. You've released the noise. You've softened your grip. And now you're walking lighter, hearing clearer, breathing deeper. This is what peace feels like. Not the absence of challenge, but the presence of trust. You trust yourself now. And that's the foundation of all divine momentum. You trust your intuition. You trust your timing. You trust your capacity to hold, to rise, to navigate, to receive. You don't look outside anymore for confirmation. You are the confirmation. You're not rushing anymore, not because you gave up, but because you caught up. You caught up with your energy. You caught up with your truth. You caught up with your destiny. And now, you move at the pace of grace, not pressure. There is no resistance left in you. No more needing to be understood. No more chasing what was never meant for you. No more shrinking to make others comfortable. That version of you expired, and in its place stands someone who carries presence. You are calm now, focused, soft but immovable, humble but certain. You don't enter rooms seeking permission. You enter rooms knowing you are the permission. You don't water yourself down to be accepted. You pour yourself fully into aligned soil. And everything grows because everything around you now knows what you know. The elevation is not a dream. It is now. The path has been cleared. The gate is open. The energy is real. The shift is active. And your role is simple. Keep showing up in truth. No panic, no forcing, no doubt. Just presence, just peace. Just obedience to the pull that says, you are already chosen. There's nothing left to chase. You've become the answer you were looking for. Now go live in it. Go rise with it. Go anchor into it. This is your time. The plan is unfolding, and nothing will be the same. Now, it's not about waiting. It's about walking. The space between intention and manifestation has collapsed. The delay you used to fear is no longer relevant because you're no longer operating from the level of hoping. You're embodying. You are living proof that when alignment becomes your foundation, elevation becomes your lifestyle. It's not an event, it's a new identity. This final step in your transformation is not loud, it's not flashy, it's sacred. It's invisible to many, but undeniable to the ones with eyes to see. You've become the quiet storm, steady, graceful, clear. There's no anxiety in your energy now. No need to force what already belongs to you. You've taken your hands off the wheel, and the plan is still unfolding. Better, faster, smoother than anything you could have orchestrated yourself. You finally understood what surrender really means. It's not giving up. It's giving in to the current, to the divine wisdom already guiding you, to the deeper knowing that no matter what it looks like right now, everything is unfolding in perfect timing. There is no striving in you anymore, no self-abandonment, no frantic chase, just devotion, just presence, just divine trust. You've made the final switch, from survival mode to sacred mode. You don't wake up asking, how will I make it work today? You wake up knowing it's already working. I just need to show up with faith and focus. This level of clarity is what makes you untouchable now, not in ego, in essence. You know who you are. You know what you carry. You know why you're here. You're no longer shaken by opinions. You're no longer thrown off by noise. You're no longer confused by detours. You walk with spiritual confidence, with anchored identity, with deep-rooted trust that goes beyond the surface. You've become so aligned with the plan that even when something doesn't go your way, you don't panic. You pause, you recalibrate, you listen, because you've learned. The plan is not always obvious, but it's always active. And if it's not coming together the way you expected, it's because something better is already forming. You're not afraid of the unknown anymore. You walk into it like a chosen one, with reverence, with openness, with peace, because you've finally realized nothing is more powerful than someone who knows they're in divine hands. That's what you are now, someone who knows, not someone who guesses, not someone who begs, not someone who fears, someone who knows. And when you know, you become magnetic. You draw the right people, the right timing, the right opportunities. You don't chase, you attract, you receive, you embody. People will feel this in you. They already do. They don't know what shifted. They just know something has. You feel bigger, lighter, brighter. Not because you're performing, but because you're aligned. And that kind of alignment can't be taught. It's remembered. It's unlocked. And now it's activated. Fully, completely, permanently. Your legacy has begun, not in some faraway future, but now, in how you show up, in how you lead, in how you love, in how you move through this world, with grace, with clarity, with quiet power. You are no longer hoping the plan will work. You are the plan working. You are no longer looking for the sign. You are living the sign. You are no longer waiting for the elevation. You are the elevation in motion. And from this point on, everything shifts. Not because something changed outside of you, but because everything changed within. And that is the greatest power you will ever carry. The ability to rise from nothing, from silence, from pain, into the fullest expression of who you were always meant to be. You've remembered, you've realigned, you've risen. The plan is active. The elevation has begun, and it will not stop. Now go and walk like it.